right? All right. Good morning, Middle Georgia. Hello, everyone. Just give us a second. Make sure we're getting everything lined up properly. Make sure everything's looking good across Middle Georgia. Hope everyone is having a happy Sunday. I hope a lot of people are still probably sleeping in, but that is A-okay. So I'm going to be keeping you updated on what's going on in the weather world as we get busy for what's going to be an active Sunday. A lot of issues ongoing across Georgia right now. We're going to break down the winter weather threat as it continues across portions of Middle Georgia. Then we're going to switch to the severe weather threat that is going to impact portions of Middle Georgia this afternoon. And then we're going to be talking about bone-chilling cold later Sunday night, Monday, and into Tuesday. Dangerously cold weather, in fact. So a lot to talk about. We're going to jump right in and start looking at everything. So first off, we can look behind me. There is a lot going on. The pink and shades you see, that's a mix of freezing rain and sleet across the Atlanta metro. You're getting nothing but freezing rain in northeast Georgia with a little bit of snow mixing in as you head up towards the Carolinas. And again, you got a cold rain back across Alabama. Here's that warm sector we've been watching, and again, the wedge has made it down into Middle Georgia, but again, we'll be watching that very carefully. Current temperatures, it's at 6:15 this morning on this Sunday morning. There's the wedge. You got temperatures near or below freezing from Gray to Eatonton, towards Milledgeville, towards Wrightsville, Irvington, nearly at freezing in Forsyth, and 32 is the magic number. Again, remember, 32 is where water starts to freeze, and this is where we're going to be dealing with those issues. But again, this is just here in Middle Georgia. That wedge is holding in place, continues to slowly slink off towards the south, but over the next couple of hours, we're going to actually start to see the warmer weather begin to lift north. Will it knock that wedge out of Middle Georgia? That's what we're hoping, but it will not knock it out of portions of northeast Georgia where they're going to be continuing to deal with that ice storm as we head through really the next several hours and into the afternoon hours. Now, big picture, this is a massive storm system stretching from Arizona across the southern plains into the northeast. We were counting earlier some 30 states impacted by this system with the widespread snow, freezing rain, sleet, all sorts of travel headaches, including at Atlanta. They're reporting freezing rain at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Numerous airports across Texas are at a ground stop, and it's only going to get worse as we head throughout the day. So a massive storm system ongoing, causing a lot of travel headaches. But what about for us in Middle Georgia? Now, again, looking specifically in Middle Georgia, not too bad. We've been relatively quiet. We had quite a bit of sleet and cold rain earlier this morning across portions of the mid-state, especially say from Upson County to Lamar County to really Butts County, Jasper County, but that has since lifted north towards Interstate 20, and that is what we are seeing currently right now on the satellite or on the radar that's ongoing. So again, looking at the statewide picture, just showing how this is going to continue to evolve as we head throughout the rest of today. Again, we'll get a little lull in the activity. Notice you're still seeing that winter weather mischief off towards the north and east. That cold air damming, that wedge is going to hold in place from Atlanta off towards the north and east. As we head through the day, they're still going to be dealing with freezing rain and that ice storm up that way. So travel not advised as you head north out of Middle Georgia into the Atlanta area and then off towards the north and east. Now you got thunderstorms developing. This afternoon, lunchtime. Some of these storms are going to be on the strong side. We're going to have a warm sector, warm, moist air is going to surge north out of the Gulf, and that's going to be making its way across South Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, and even into South Georgia. And that'll be coming through here 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock this afternoon, and we'll be watching these storms very carefully. They could be on the strong side, but notice by 6 o'clock, they're rapidly pushing out of here, and then that Arctic air comes in behind this system as we look. Something you don't see very often. We got winter weather issues, ice storm warning, as well as a winter weather advisory, but it's overlapping with a severe weather threat. That's unheard of. We got a marginal risk, that level 1 threat for most of Middle Georgia, with even a level 2 threat down across southwest Georgia, South Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle. And again, I can't remember the last time I've seen a severe weather threat overlaid with a winter weather threat. Again, sometimes you'll get severe weather before a winter weather issue, This time you're getting a winter weather issue before a severe weather threat. It's kind of a backward storm system, and it's a very unique storm system, and it's definitely something we're going to be watching as we head throughout the rest of the day. So again, here's the current temperatures across the state. You see that warm sector, 67 degrees in Meridian, Mississippi, about 70 miles to the west of there. It's 33 in Jackson, and that warm air is going to be making its way up into Alabama and then southwest Georgia, and we'll just see how far north and east it makes it. Notice up in Hampton and Henry County, it's 31 degrees, 26 in Cornelia, 27 in Augusta. That's why they're dealing with that freezing rain and ice storm. Even down in Swainsboro, it's currently 32 degrees, but we look down in Albany, it is 48. Now here in Macon, it's sitting at 36 degrees. Temperature may fall another degree or two, but we're just not expecting us to get below that freezing mark if you head west of Interstate 75. So this is what we're going to be working with the next couple of hours. Morning, winter weather mischief, then a rapid afternoon warm up for some locations. That's going to set the stage for instability, warm moist air surging north, strong storms this afternoon and evening across portions of middle Georgia. And yes, we could be dealing with damaging winds, and a few isolated quick spin-up tornadoes will even be possible. And then behind this system, dangerously cold weather ahead. We're not going to warm up anytime soon. Temperatures are going to be 10 to 20 degrees below average for at least the next 7 to 10 days. So if you like the warm weather, enjoy it today when you see those temperatures warm up into the 50s and 60s, because we may not see 50 degrees until maybe February. Yes, it's going to be hard to believe. Just a prolonged cold period is ahead for much of middle Georgia. So again, recapping what we're seeing currently. All the counties you see shaded in that dark purple, that is an ice storm warning. Ice storm is ongoing. This is where travel is not recommended. They're starting to get a lot of issues around the Atlanta metro. Sidewalks, roadways are starting to ice over. And then we have that winter weather advisory that extends as far south as Monroe County, Jones County, Baldwin County, and Washington County. And I think this is where it will stay. I don't see them shifting it any farther off towards the east, off towards the south and west. Number one, the temperatures aren't going to be supportive of that. And then over the next few hours, we don't have a lot of precip that's going to be overriding that colder air that would bring down those temperatures. So again, I think this winter weather advisory will continue to sit and stay in place and not be a major issue as far as them expanding it. We'll keep an eye on it, of course. Now, again, we look at the impacts, severe winter storm weather impacts. This is where we could be seeing some of those slick spots. And they've been getting reports of sleet and freezing rain in Butts County, Jasper County, Putnam County, and Hancock County. And that's where we're possibly seeing some of those minor impacts. We're talking generally some slick spots on those roadways, especially those elevated surfaces. Keep that in mind. If you're heading north along Interstate 75, you get north of Forsyth and getting up towards Hampton, Henry County, they are reporting a glaze on the roads and on cars and on elevated surfaces up that way. So again, heading north of Forsyth, I wouldn't recommend it today. It's just not going to be a good day the farther north you go. If your travels take you south and east, down towards the south, you're going to be A-OK. Again, this is a really east and northern Georgia problem as far as the ice storm. For us in middle Georgia and down towards the south, we're really dodging a bullet on this one. And we knew we would be on that defining line between the rain and the ice, and it looks like it's going to set up in some of our northeastern communities, but not a major ice storm for us. That's why we're not seeing an ice storm warning. So that is certainly some great news. Now, as we look live at the temperatures as well as the radar, again, temperatures are below freezing from Irvington to Eatonton, flirting with freezing in Forsyth, but Macon, we're sitting at 36, and then down towards the south, generally 30s and 40s, no problems. If we are seeing a little bit of precip, it's going to be rain and sleet in these areas. Sure, you can get sleet with temperatures above freezing. It's not going to stick, just a little ping pong or pinging on the car, maybe your rooftop. But again, if you start seeing some of that precip in our northeastern counties where it is below freezing, that's where we could be seeing some of that freezing rain and some of those slick spots if we get some more widespread precipitation. But notice how quiet the radar is. This is certainly some great news. We don't see any widespread moisture moving in. Again, you had it a few hours ago, Lamar County, Butts County, getting into Jasper County and over towards Putnam County, but that has since lifted towards Interstate 20 and is causing problems up that way. But again, that wedge is firmly in place. Those models have handled this very well this week. It's suggested that maybe it makes it to Interstate 75 and Interstate 16 off towards the south. It would stay too warm for any frozen precip off towards the north and east. This is where we could be seeing that frozen precip. So again, so far, so good. No major impacts here in Middle Georgia. That's what we want to hear. But as we head throughout the rest of the day, things are certainly going to change across Middle Georgia. Again, this is a very strange and historic storm system. And as we look at the forecast model, this is the graph, this is the short range. You still got, over the next few hours, these temperatures below freezing in our northeastern counties. Now, as we head through the late morning hours, notice, here comes that line of strong storms. Again, it'll just determine how far north that warm front makes it. We're not going to be dealing with severe weather if you have temperatures in the 40s and 50s, but where you see the 60s, and some of the model data suggesting we could see even some 70s this afternoon down in our southern counties, that's where there could be enough instability to get some of those stronger storms. Now, a few strong storms certainly in Middle Georgia possible with some hail, some gusty winds, but you'll have to go farther down towards the south to get a tornado threat, and that is a concern today. We are going to be watching that very carefully. Notice this is at 4 o'clock. Temperatures 50s and 60s in most locations, and then as we head into the 6 o'clock hour, still that Arctic air has not started filtering in until later tonight. Now, by first thing tomorrow morning, you're heading out the door, widespread 20s across Middle Georgia. It's going to be a cold start to our Monday. Winds are going to be howling out of the northwest, and our wind chills are going to be a significant issue. But again, for us in Georgia, in Middle Georgia, that's what we're going to be watching later today, that threat for some of those strong storms. Now, as I've been saying, you got that severe weather threat. You got a level 2 threat across southeast Alabama, southwest Georgia, and much of the Florida Panhandle. That extends as far north and east as, say, Sly County, as well as Sumter County, Chris County. This shouldn't adjust much today. If anything, they may adjust it a little bit farther south. This was much farther north earlier and included portions of the Birmingham area, but overnight they at least trimmed it back and shifted it off towards the east some. But again, for Middle Georgia, where we're seeing temperatures currently in the 30s, there is a level 1 threat for severe weather later this afternoon. And when we talk about a level 1 threat, it's an isolated chance for a severe storm or two. Damaging winds would be the main concern, maybe to 50 to 60 miles per hour. And of course, we're going to be dealing with that threat for maybe a quick spin-up tornado, especially in our southwestern counties. Keep that in mind. I would say south of a line from Macon County to Houston County to Bleckley County over towards Treutlen County. That's where that tornado threat will be, but it's going to be a threat, so we're going to be watching it very carefully as we head through the next several hours, but that'll be later this afternoon after lunchtime. We're coming up on 6:30. We're just dealing with the cold and areas of light rain and sleet this morning. Again, 12 p.m. to about 6 p.m. is when we're going to be dealing with that threat for maybe those stronger storms. After we get through with the storm threat, we're going to be dealing with some dangerously cold weather. So we got the winter weather stuff this morning. We got the threat for strong storms this afternoon. And then tomorrow and into Tuesday, the coldest air we have seen in quite some time. And I'm about to show you that as well. So if we look forward to our low temperature trend, average low this time of year is 36 degrees. By tomorrow morning, most of us will be into the 20s. Now those 20s will come in after 6 a.m. So anything that's left on the road will freeze for a lot of people after we're talking the morning commute in a lot of spots. Now, as we head through the day, temperatures will warm up into the upper 30s and lower 40s. However, Tuesday night, we're going to hit rock bottom as far as those temperatures. On average, about 16 degrees. And then notice we stay in the 20s for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I'll go ahead and tell you, Saturday, Sunday morning, with those temperatures remaining well below average for this time of year. But we can handle temperatures. It's when you factor in those winds, and that's what we're going to be seeing. And we already do have a cold weather advisory in effect for portions of Middle Georgia. We get one of these, maybe two of these a year sometimes, or you can go several years without it. But as of right now, this is for Monday morning from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. when wind chill values will be from about 0 to 15 degrees. That's what it's going to feel like. Now that's going to include Macon-Bibb County, Peach County. You get down into Macon County, and then you get across the river into Jones County and up into, say, Putnam County and off towards the north and east. I fully expect this to be extended farther off towards the south, and then extended into Tuesday as well, because I think Tuesday morning we'll have the coldest wind chills of this event, with some locations again between 0 and 5 degrees likely as we head towards Tuesday morning. So again, looking at forecast wind chills, it's chilly outside right now. We got that wedge building in. You got some locations feeling like it's in the 20s. Even in Macon, it's chilly outside. We're sitting in the 30s, but the wind chill is actually in the 20s. As we head throughout the day, notice how quickly we saw that warm up. You see that warm front coming north. It's going to be feeling like the 60s and 70s later today, 3 p.m. And this is where we're going to be watching for those stronger thunderstorms. Notice that warm front, it doesn't knock that wedge out. Some of our northern counties likely will stay in the 30s all day, while some of our southern counties could see 70s today. That's just how the wedge works a lot of times. And then as we head into the overnight hours, that's when we're going to see those temperatures really come down. Now this is 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. It will be feeling like 15 degrees, 14 degrees, low 20s in a lot of locations. By 8 o'clock, it's feeling even colder. How about 15 in Gray, 18 in Macon, 16 in Roberta. Now, we don't warm up a whole lot for tomorrow. Still going to be feeling those wind chills in the 20s and 30s. And then as we head into Monday night and Tuesday, I really think this is when we're going to be dealing with this coldest temperature as it makes its way into middle Georgia. Notice it's at 7:30 a.m. Tuesday morning. Dangerously cold temperatures. And again, this is what it will feel like. Actual temperatures will be in the teens. What it feels like, how about 6 degrees in Gray, 5 degrees in Eaton, 9 degrees in Macon as well as Butler, low teens all the way down towards Mount Vernon, Soperton as well as McRae. And again, this is that dangerously cold weather. So we got a 1, 2, 3 punch going on today. The first punch this morning with that winter weather precip in some of our counties. Punch 2 this afternoon with some of those stronger storms possible, and then punch 3 comes in late tonight, really tomorrow, and then will last through at least Tuesday with these wind chills that are going to be feeling downright dangerous. This is where you have to remember those 4 Ps we always talk about: people, pets, pipes, and plants, but especially your pets, people that may not have adequate heating, and of course, you got to remember those pipes and leave those dripping as we head through the overnight hours, as this will certainly cause some pipe burst issues across middle Georgia. So that is what we are going to be dealing with. Again, a very active scenario. And again, just looking at what's going on across middle Georgia right now, we do have temperatures below freezing along and east of 75, really from Forsyth to Gray to Milledgeville, Sandersville, Irwington, and over towards Wrightsville. But notice there's not a lot of precip falling. That's certainly some great news. The more widespread precipitation was earlier this morning. It has since lifted north and is affecting the Atlanta metro. And again, just showing you big picture once again what's going on in the Atlanta metro and the rest of Georgia. Again, current ice storm. Do not travel north towards Atlanta or over towards Augusta or anywhere in this direction. Again, they're going to get a little lull in the activity, but a lot of areas are already glazed over up here. Then all this moisture off towards the west is going to be working its way eastward, and that wedge we've been talking about, it's going to remain in place at least from Atlanta off towards the east, and they're going to be dealing with even more icing issues as we head throughout the rest of this afternoon and even into tonight, and then everything will stay frozen as those temperatures really come crashing down. But here's the next wave of cold air. So you got this warm sector, you got this cold sector, and then you have this other cold sector, and that's that Arctic air that's going to come racing south and east as we head through the overnight hours. So that is what we're dealing with, a very complex forecast. Meteorologist Noah Halk and myself have been here all night just watching it, and that's what you do with these situations. Watch it. Hopefully nothing bad has happened, but again, forecast has been pretty spot on as far as what we've been dealing with that wedge setting up and those temperatures remaining in the low 30s in some spots, but remaining well above the freezing mark in other locations. And then, like I said, afternoon, we're talking 12, 1 o'clock, we'll start paying attention to what we're going to do with those thunderstorms. We're going to have thunderstorms this afternoon. Just how strong will they be? And again, the main concerns will be maybe some damaging wind gust and an isolated tornado or two. So before I jump back off of here, Noah, are you seeing anything in the chat or any comments over there?
So we have one from Spencer. He's just wondering what the weather is looking like for Washington County specifically.
All right, for right now, Washington County, again, temperatures are near the freezing mark. You're getting a little bit of sleet, but a lot of this not reaching the ground. The lower levels of the atmosphere continue to be dry. I think if you're, say, from Baldwin County over towards Washington County, Hancock, Putnam, Jasper County, you're going to stay cold today. I think you're going to stay in the 30s for most of the day. Now, over the next few hours, when that warm air starts lifting off towards the north, it will help erode away some of these colder temperatures. You will get above freezing in these locations, but as we head through the next really few hours, you're going to remain below freezing. But notice we're looking back towards the south and west. We're not seeing widespread precipitation that's going to be heading that way. So we're not expecting a lot of issues, but still a few slick spots are certainly possible where we've been dealing with some of those wet conditions throughout the overnight hours. So again, that's just what we're working with. Like I said, the first round is going to be getting out of here soon. We'll get a little lull in the activity, and then this afternoon we're going to be watching for that threat for strong storms. And I really think if we're going to be seeing strong storms making off towards the south. Now, don't let your guard down anywhere across middle Georgia, but I really like how this system has set up. Everything's staying off towards the north of us. We didn't want this. This was never going to be a snow situation like last week. This was going to be an ice situation. And that's what they're seeing across North Georgia. So dodged a bullet here in Middle Georgia, but again, that's what we're going to be working with. Now, I will show you the 10-day forecast just to give you a general idea of what we're looking at the rest of this week. And as of right now, it's going to be relatively dry. Once we get into Monday, lots of sunshine, but we are sticking with those weather-worn days from Monday and Tuesday just because it is going to be so cold with those temperatures into the 40s. But notice each day, highs are only in the 40s each and every day. Overnight lows are in the 20s. Average high this time of year, 60 degrees. Yes, we're starting that warming trend as we get closer to the end of January, but unfortunately temperatures will not reflect that anytime soon, and I really think it's going to be probably early February before we can climb out of this deep freeze of the 40s and 20s, and we'll see 50s return. So today is the last day we're going to see 50s and 60s for a while across middle Georgia, but then we're going to be dealing with the generally sunny conditions most of next week. Now, however, my experience will tell me this. Some of the models suggested we could see another storm system next weekend. The models have really backed off that. But it's very unusual for the next 7 to 10 days. Not a lot of precip is showing up after today. That's very strange. So I would not be surprised somewhere along the way we may get a little bit more rain or maybe even a winter weather threat sometime over the next 7 to 10 days because we do have so much cold air in place. Hopefully we're not. 2 winter weather threats this year, that's enough. We had that beautiful snow last week. We knew it'd be a low impact, lots of excitement kind of scenario. This is a high impact event, but mainly for areas off towards the north. And that's where we knew that ice storm would remain in the Atlanta area, Interstate 20 and off towards the north. But again, we're going to continue to watch things over the next few hours. Like I said, we're going to be back here. We're going to have that threat for strong storms. Meteorologist Noah Houck and myself. Not getting a lot of sleep, but that is A-okay. This is what we get paid to do. This is what we love to do. And again, watching it very carefully. Yes, temperatures are below the freezing mark in our northeastern counties, but again, not seeing that widespread precipitation. And before our next round of widespread precipitation moves in, most, if not all, of middle Georgia will at least be back above the freezing mark. And again, like I said, these 40s are likely to become 60s as we head through the afternoon and evening hours ahead of that warm front. So, like I said, just a complicated forecast for middle Georgia. It always has been. But then again, we'll continue to watch things very carefully as we head through the rest of our Sunday. And like I said, no snow, no ice for a lot of the area, that's fine. Then we get the storms later today, and then we get that very cold weather. That's going to impact everybody. So be prepared for that. Be making those precautions because tomorrow and Tuesday are going to be bone-chilling cold, and those winds are going to be howling behind this storm system. I'm telling you, those wind chills the next 2 mornings in the teens and even those single digits on Tuesday morning. So again, we're not accustomed to that kind of cold across middle Georgia, but that's what's going to happen. So hopefully everything will work out okay. We'll get through this system with no major impacts, no slick spots, but again, north along 75. If you're heading towards the Atlanta, Augusta area, just not recommended today, especially as you get north of Interstate 20. That's where that ice storm will persist throughout much of the afternoon. So we're watching it. We're in good shape right now across middle Georgia, and hopefully it's going to stay that way. Then later this afternoon, we're going to be watching for that threat for strong storms making its way towards the mid-state. Hopefully that warm front will not lift that far north, and it'll keep the threat confined to our southern counties, or maybe even down across southwest Georgia, where we don't have to deal with it here in the mid-state. But then we all, no matter what happens, will be dealing with that much colder weather that will arrive later tonight, through the day on Monday and into Tuesday, and then we're going to stay relatively cold for at least the next 7 to 10 days across much of not just middle Georgia, but really the deep south, as the Arctic floodgates have opened, and they're going to stay open for a while. So that's just what we are dealing with this morning. It's been a quiet morning for many of us. Again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett here with meteorologist Noah Houck. We'll continue to watch this stuff throughout the rest of the day, and this afternoon, of course, with that strong threat for some storms, we have to break into programming. We will do that, but that'll be this afternoon. We always break in if there's a tornado warning anywhere within our viewing area. If not, of course, we'll get back on Facebook Live, the digital platforms, and we'll just go through the process unless we get some more active weather. But again, hopefully nothing too bad will occur later this afternoon, and hopefully that warm front doesn't lift that far north and we stay relatively cool, a stable air mass where we won't get those strong storms. But again, a level 1 threat, even though we got temperatures below freezing in many locations this morning, kind of a rarity that we are dealing with. But I'm going to sign off here from now. Hope everybody has a great Sunday morning. You should have no problems heading to brunch, heading to your house of worship, or anything like that. The weather's